Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Kamala Bare Napa Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jagadish Hare Tapakara Kamala Bare Nakama Tuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Avakara Kamala Bare Nakama Tuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubhinga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Narasimha-dev 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 Jaya Narasimha-dev Jaya Narasimha-dev 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 Jaya Narasimha-dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Welcome, dear devotees, to our Friday evening Srimad Bhagavatam class. I'm so happy that you're able to join us here on Zoom. And thank you, Shraddha-devi Dasi Mataji is watching us on Facebook over here. Dandat pranams to all of you. And we'll get going with the nectarian slokas from Kunti Maharani's prayers. And those are amazing, amazing prayers, and they apply so much to our lives. And listening to and hearing Kunti Maharani's prayers give us so much of hope when we are faced with troubles in life, that we kind of get a reference point on how much a person can suffer, how much a lady can suffer. And yet we take inspirations from how she pursued and continued and persisted in her devotional service to Kṛṣṇa. And so we will be doing verse number 24 from the 8th chapter in the first canto of Bhagavatam. And we'll do that after we offer these prayers to the Lord, to the demigods, as well as to our spiritual master. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtinaha Hidyantasto Hiya Bhatrani Vidhunoti Suhit Satam. Kunti Uvacha. So let me first share my screen with you so that the suspense is removed. And how are you feeling today on a scale of 1 to 10? If you're feeling a 10, will you raise your hands on your videos? And I see fantastic Vindhyavali Mataji, Sukumal Radhe Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Sadhana Mataji, fantastic. And quite a few of you who are raising your hands, but your video phones are switched off. I do not know. Okay, I see a new user called Zoom user, and we don't know who that person is. I am just guessing that maybe it is our Poonam Mataji. And Poonam Mataji, is that you?
This is Poonam, yeah, Shraddha-devi Mataji.
Fantastic. So, well, I was just thinking that we should all introduce ourselves to each other. It's a long time since we have introduced ourselves. So we will take turns, and I will go by how you appear on my dashboard over here. So we'll start with Aruni Mataji. Aruni Mataji, if you can unmute yourself and let us know where you are from. And, yeah.
Hare Krishna. Well, here in the US, I live in Mountain View. And my name is Aruni, as you've already said. What else do you want me to say?
Say something nice. Welcome, Poonam Mataji.
Sorry, what's the name again?
Poonam. Poonam, yeah.
So, welcome, warm welcome to you, Poonam Mataji. And yeah, nice to have you here.
Yeah, and her name is Poonam Yadav, so which, you know, is a special last name. She's from the Yadu Vansha. So we are so happy. Kṛṣṇa is pleased with our Krishna Katha that we have been doing for many years now, that he has sent a Yaduvanshi to our place. So we are really fortunate to have her here. Okay, and so who is next in the participant list? I see it is Poonam Mataji. So I will introduce Poonam to you. So I have met Poonam through a ISKCON congregation member, her brother-in-law from Australia. And Poonam is actually in the Cupertino area. And you won't believe it that she and Garima work for the same company. I'm not going to name the company. We are on Facebook, but I just thought I'll let you know. Okay, and Sukumal.
Hare Krishna, welcome Poonam Mataji. My name is Sukumal Radhe and I live in San Jose. And I've been associated with ISKCON for the last, I don't know, innumerable years. Yeah. And you will love Shraddha Mataji's classes. They really will inspire you to keep coming again and again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I already feel the association with the family for sure.
Yes, each one of these is a gem by itself. All these Matajis are very, very fantastic, and yeah, you will love them all for sure. Okay, so let's see who's next after Sukumal. I'm just looking at my screen here. Sadhana Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, Poonam Mataji. Welcome to the our Bhakti Rickshaw session. We look forward to having you and join us, and we've all been enjoying this so much. Thank you to Shraddha Mataji for forever keeping us inspired and continued. So hopefully, you'll stay with us, and we'll get to meet one day. And I'm in California as well, in a place called Redwood City.
Thank you, Sadhana Mataji. And then Meera Mataji. Can you unmute yourself?
I just joined right now. What are you talking about?
Okay, yeah, so we have Poonam Mataji who's joined us for the first time. And so we are introducing ourselves to her, letting her know where we are from and giving her a nice welcome.
Oh, welcome, Mataji. I'm here in Merced, California. I'm away from Bay Area devotees, about 2 hours away, 2 hours drive. And if you are ever in this area, I'm not too sure where are you from. If you are ever in here, you are most welcome here. And in this case, it applies to all of you, actually, Matajis.
I am just waiting for these bans to be lifted and for me to, overcome whatever resistance I have for going out. And I really want to come to Merced.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
It's on my list. Yeah, Modesto and Merced, I want to cover and go there and do some distribution. Yeah, and Poonam Mataji is actually from Cupertino. So she's from the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good. And so then Sadhana, Sonia.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam, Hare Krishna everybody. I'm from San Diego and welcome Poonam Mataji. I enjoy the Krishna Katha from Shraddha Mataji a lot, and welcome to this group, and all the Matajis, welcome to San Diego when you visit here. I would love to meet you all. I've been in association with you since 2017, but I've not met anybody. So would love to meet everybody. If you ever visit San Diego, or I visit Bay Area. Thank you.
Yes, I haven't met anybody either.
Well,
I'm
Sonia
not
Mataji,
the only one. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
But it
Sonia
looks like-
Mataji,
yeah.
leave your address in the chat, please. I'm going to take you up on it.
Oh, sure, Mataji. I would love it. I'll share.
Because I want to go to San Diego.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Put it on
Mataji,
the
most
WhatsApp group.
welcome. Most welcome, Mataji. Thank you.
Aruni might buy a place right next to you. Who knows? She might like San Diego.
But
so
San
much.
Diego is too much. Actually, I'm looking at Merced, so I've got to talk to Meera Mataji.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Meera, you're going to have company. Okay. And so that's good. 2 book distributors in Merced.
That would be
Now-
nice. I would love to go with you, with somebody as a company. It would be wonderful.
Yes, it's it makes a lot. It makes a huge difference. It immediately becomes fun, you know.
Yes.
Book distribution is fun and easy. Yeah, that should probably say. Very good. Now, Neeral, is it Neeral you or is it Khyati or is it both of you there on Neeral?
Mataji, it's both of us, but only I am. Right,
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, you are out walking? Back?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Yes, to complete
Okay,
her
good.
paper.
Very good. So you heard our conversation before why we are doing this, you know, right? Why we are doing it? Should I tell it to you?
No, we just
We
saw
have-
that everyone is introducing themselves. Is that the only thing?
To Poonam Mataji. Yeah, Poonam Yadav Mataji from Cupertino has joined us for the first time. So I also thought it's a long time since we, never talked, it
Yes,
was more
Mataji.
focused. Yeah, so please
Yeah,
introduce
Mataji.
yourself, tell who you are, and then welcome.
I'm Neeral and my wife Khyati.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji. Welcome to the group. And we live in Millbrae, close to San Francisco Airport. And we are very. So I came to Krishna consciousness since 2004, when I came for my studies, and then Khyati joined me in 2008 when we got married, and since 1.5, at least 2 years, this Bhakti Vriksha program has been amazing for us. I mean, it's just continuous nectar that we have been getting.
And all
From
glories
Shraddha
to
Mataji.
Shraddha Mataji and all the devotees for your effort. So we are very fortunate. So anyone who is not from this area and are visiting and coming through San Francisco, the first doorway is our home. And
Yes.
those who are in San Francisco can come anytime.
Yeah, we have a nice beach around here. So that's all.
And both of them are fantastic cooks, so if you're driving back.
Mataji, we are supporting cooks. Mataji, if you tell me to cut, I'll cut in a way that I have been specified to cut the vegetables. By cooking.
Fantastic. So then we have Varshana Mataji. So if Merced sounds far away, let's see what Varshana Mataji has to tell us. Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, everybody. I'm from India, from Pune, and I'm so happy to know Poonam, and you are from Yadav family. So that is fantastic to have somebody from Krishna's family. That is wonderful, and I'm sure we will learn a lot from you, Poonam Mataji. And whenever you come to India, you are most welcome to visit our place, and the temple is also close by. So we are here. Shraddha Mataji's elder sister is also here, Vidyavadhu Mataji. Her husband, her son, her daughter-in-law, all are devotees, and we will have a very good time here. Please come over. And I joined ISKCON in 2010, I should say. 2013, I got my first initiation. And that is all due to Shraddha Mataji's association, her efforts, and her blessings that I got into Krishna consciousness. And my Shiksha Gurus, they have really helped me to, be serious in Krishna consciousness. This is what my Shiksha Gurus, Shraddha Mataji, Janma Mataji, Satyavati Mataji, and many more, they have helped me to come into Krishna consciousness. I'm really grateful to them. And especially now in Bhakti Vriksha, this has been enlightening totally. And I'm 100%, 101% sure that you will enjoy each class. In fact, you will wait for the class to come, the day to come. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Poonam Mataji, I didn't pay her to say any of that. This is meant to be a welcome session for Poonam Mataji and not a glorification of Shraddha Mataji. So Vindhyavali Mataji, let's do that. Club. Unmute yourself. You can find.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranams, Poonam Mataji and Shraddha Mataji, all the other my devotees. Welcome, Poonam Mataji, welcome to the Bhakti Vriksha family. And we're all like family. We always, just have good association with Shraddha Mataji's class. And we enjoy, and then we enjoy the Krishna Katha plus our association, all the devotees association here. And I was in Krishna temple, and I was going to from 1984. And then from then onwards, but recently, because of Shraddha Mataji's help also, I had to glorify to her too. And I got into initiation. I got the initiation and a year back. And I'm enjoying all these classes. And you're always welcome. And where I am living, I don't know whether I am in San Francisco, Cupertino, or I am in Philadelphia. Both the places you are welcome. Philadelphia, my daughter lives, she's also a devotee, and then Philadelphia temple. And we are active, she's also active, she's also initiated. And then San Francisco, that temple also. I know everybody and I enjoy that. My son lives there. So both the places you're welcome. And I'm from India too. I'm South Indian. And I enjoy cooking. I enjoy feeding, first of all.
Good for you.
So that's how. Thank you.
So when you are in the Bay Area, where are you located? When you are in the Bay Area with your son.
Oh God, where is that? What is that place?
Is it Cupertino?
Cupertino, yeah.
Yeah, because Poonam is also from there. I'm saying that.
So that and then when I come and I can meet her. And
you can cook for her.
Yeah, I can.
I know I'll get some leftovers.
Easily come to myself.
Very good.
That is
very
Thank you very much for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. And Virabha Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. I joined the temple in 2019. And I really want to welcome you, Poonam Mataji. This class is amazing. You get a lot of inspiration and a lot of practical points on something you won't get anywhere else. I currently live in San Jose, but I'm originally from Nepal. And if you ever want to, we can meet up. We can meet at the temple, whatever is easy for you. And yeah, welcome.
All right, thank you so much, everybody, for giving Poonam Mataji such a warm welcome. And we will notice as we are spending more and more time in devotional service, we realize that the best thing and the best association and the best gift that you can have is to have devotees in your life. And it's even better when they come to your home and they pay a visit. And that is why Vaishnavi Prabhu, who is the temple president for ISKCON of Silicon Valley, always says, and who's also my dear spiritual master, he always says that you should actually be eager to bring the devotees into your home, because when you bring the sadhus into your home, the first thing that you do is you start cleaning your home to make it presentable to them. So just the very thought of bringing a sadhu starts the cleansing process, right? So it starts with us making a house presentable, taking out everything from the fridge, loading it with fresh things, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so not only do they benefit from this association, I benefit tremendously from the association of all these fantastic devotees, and I'm just so happy that Poonam Mataji is joining us today, while we are going to talk about and continue with the prayers of Queen Kunti. And Poonam Mataji, if you missed these previous lectures, prayers of Queen Kunti start from verse 18, and today we're going to do 24. So, we have kind of covered 6 of the verses before. And so the recording of all those verses are available on my Facebook page for Shraddha-devi Dasi. And so you can always go and watch it later if you miss anything. But nothing to beat this camaraderie that we have here in the class, and talking, discussing things with each other. So having said that, let's get going and bring up verse number 24. And we did our Narsingam prayer. So how about this for Krishna? These are the deities as they are looking today. Vindhyavali Mataji, they are looking like this today in our temple. Radha and Madan Mohan, beautifully decorated by our Ramananda Sakapadu. So for our text number 24 from chapter 8 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshana Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichataha Mridhe Mridhene Kamaharatashthato Drone Astrataschasma Hare Bhirakshitaha. Synonyms: Vishad, from poison; Maha Agnehe, from the great fire; Purusha Ada, the man-eaters; Darshanat, by combating; Asat, vicious; Sabhayaha, assembly; Vanavasa, exiled to the forest; Krichrataha, sufferings; Mridhe Mridhe, again and again in the battle; Aneka, many; Maharatha, great generals; Astrataha, weapons; Droni, the son of Dronacharya; Astrataha, from the weapon of; Cha, and; Asma, indicating the past tense. Here, Hare, O my Lord; Abhirakshitaha, protected completely. So if you want to be Abhirakshitaha, okay, so we are talking about complete protection, completeness, right? And so let's talk about the word protection, Rakshitaha. So what are the sources from where you can get protection? Who can be your protectors? Give me some examples from life. Who can be your protectors? Some examples. You have any protectors in life? Anybody protecting you?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Actually, Mataji, in the Bhautik Jagat, in this material world, we have God has sent many protectors for us in his form, like our parents, our brothers and sisters, and then some of the acharyas, those who have helped us in life, our teachers, those who have brought us up. And then come to, he himself is there to protect us in every, like he helped Kunti Maharani and her children at every step of life. And if you leave everything upon him, surrender unto him, he is there to protect us. Hari Bol Mataji.
Thank you. Great. So I don't think Vaishana Mataji left anything for others. She already listed all the protectors. So thank you for that. And so there is a verse. So it's talking about protection, right? So there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that says, Deha patya kalatreshu atmasanyasya satsvapi tesham pramatto nidhanam paschan apina paschati. So what it's saying is that people who do not have Gyan about, Gyan can be material Gyan as well as spiritual Gyan. So Atma Tattva is that when you are looking for spiritual, right? So when your knowledge is on the spiritual aspects, then people do not inquire and acquire spiritual knowledge. So those kind of peoples, they will never inquire into the problems of life. They will never inquire into that. What is it? They're not even aware of it, that actually I'm going through some problems in life. They're happy with whatever is happening to them. Why? Because they are attached to, and here Sukdev Goswami, when he's narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj on the banks of the Ganges, he says this to Parikshit Maharaj, right? And Parikshit Maharaj is about to die. And how many days is he going to die? Does anybody know? Can you quickly unmute?
7 days.
7
7
days.
days.
7
Very
days.
good. 7 days for 500 points goes to Vidyavati Mataji. Okay, so they are, yeah, so he had 7 days left to die. And so he was asking this question to Sukadeva Goswami, that what is the duty of a person who's about to die? And as part of that, when he starts the narration in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, Sukadeva Goswami says that people who are devoid of Atma Tattva, they do not inquire into the real problems of life. Can you tell me the 4 problems of life which are very real? The real problems of life. And Vaishana Mataji, is that a hand that you raised, or is that an old hand that is still up? What anybody wants to tell us? What are the 4 problems of life? The real problem. What is it that will make a problem real? What is the definition of a problem being real, right? And I'll tell you this thing, and my sister Shraddha-devi Dasi is watching from India, and her daughter. So when I'm spilling the beans here. So when we were young, like in our 20s or late teens and our 20s, one of her friends actually came, and she came to Vidyavati and said, I had a big tragedy in my life. So we were alarmed, right? You know, I was that little sister who tags along, the elder sister. So I was tagging along. But she was talking to her. She said, I have a big tragedy in my life. So I got alerted. What was the big tragedy in this lady's life? You know, she said, I had given a blouse to the tailor to stitch, and he messed it up. So when you're a teenager, that is the tragedy that you call as a tragedy. So what is a problem and what is not a problem, you know, also differs from person to person, from people to people, from place to place, from time and circumstances. You know, something which is not problematic becomes a problem later on in the life, right? Things change. And so when we are saying that I'm facing problems, we have to first understand what is the problem real or not. And so when we talk about real problems in this material world, a real problem is a problem which will show certain symptoms. One is that it will be applicable to everybody. That is a real problem. If somebody's tailor messes up a blouse, it is not a problem by this definition, because not everybody's blouses got messed up, right? So a real problem is real when it is applicable to all. Number 2, it is there always. It is there always, right? And then the third thing is that it won't have a solution in this material world. Now I am giving you these 3 hints. Can you tell me what are the 4 problems of this material world? And Vaishana Mataji is giving a big smile and a raised hand. So briefly tell us the 4 problems, just name them of real life. Unmute yourself. I think you're speaking. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have already listed all the 4 problems.
You listed it.
Okay, everybody is. Oh, you have listed them on the chat. I was not listening. I was not watching the chat. Okay. Oh, chat is active. Ooh, all of you are very good, huh? Disease, death, and old age. Says birth, death, old age, and disease. Aruni Mataji says her only problem is ill health. Lack of remembrance of Krishna. Meera Prabhu says that's a problem. And death, old age, and disease is a problem. Very good. And those are the 4 problems in life that everybody who is here suffered birth. And if you want to know how much we suffer in the birth, pick up the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and read chapter number 31. you will know what a fetus feels and thinks inside the womb, which science right now doesn't tell you. Okay, so we all suffer birth, and everybody who's born here will also suffer death. So that's also a known case. So there's birth and then death, and there is old age. So what is old age? Can anybody define what is old age? How do you define? What are the symptoms of old age?
The body shrivels.
Body shrivels, says Anani Mataji.
And the
So
mind also flags.
mind also shrivels. Okay. Okay. Forgetfulness comes. Okay. So the body shrivels, the mind shrivels, forgetfulness comes, and then what else? You get to use your provident fund, your 401k. You get to retire. These are the things that we normally think. We would normally think that these are the symptoms of old age, right? Or also, as you
which text you said? Sorry, Mataji. 31 text from which?
Fourth chapter, third canto, chapter 30, third canto, 31st chapter. Somebody type it out on the chat list for the Devlinasti. So, so we might think that these are the problems that we have, and of life, right? So, birth, death. So I was talking about what is old age. Old age is when the white hair appear on your head. Somebody might say, right? Old, this is a symptom. Somebody said wrinkle. Somebody said wrinkled bodies, right? Wrinkled bodies. And wrinkles can come at any age. Actually, when a child is born, they have wrinkles, right? So how can you say wrinkles is a sign of old age, right? And then mind being wrinkled, oh my goodness. Mind can be wrinkled and crumpled and become a ball, and sometimes become a ball of fire. Anytime. That can happen anytime.
Gray hair?
Yeah. So gray hair. I had gray hair since I was 25. So you don't know, right? So gray hair is also not a symptom. Being deceased is also not a symptom, because, you know, young people, I heard of a girl 8 years old who had a heart attack. So disease is also not a symptom of old age. Again, you know, you become very powerful and you get reach a high position in life in your company. That's also not the case. Facebook, you see, they were so young, the people, right? So that is also not the case. Money.
Sometimes dependability, Mataji. Dependability.
What do you say about dependability? A child can get hurt and be on a wheelchair, you know, from the age of 5. So dependability is also there, you know, is also not a symptom of old age. So Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada defines old age as your proximity to death. Your proximity to death. How close you are to death is telling you how old you are. So if we are going to die tomorrow, I'm old already. In any case, I'm old, like that. So we have to remember this. And so when we say that in order to do devotional service to the Lord, and one of you listed that, you know, that not able to do devotional service is a problem in our life, very rightly identified that problem. And so when we are saying that when we realize that it's not that old age is something that's going to come then to all of us, it can come to us anytime, like that. So when people say that when you're old, I'm going to do devotional service, then you start doing now. Why? Because we don't know when we are going to get the old age. Parikshit Maharaj was very lucky that he knew that in 5-7 days he's going to die. Most of us don't even know that. I could just die in the middle of this lecture. Who knows that? Like that, right? So these are the problems of life, and what we try to do is, as this verse is telling us, that we try to get protection. We try to take protection from thinking that, you know, I have got a wife, I have got a son, I have got rich relatives, you know, I have got a good job, and all these things are, you know, or my children, I've got a son, he'll take care of me, and guess what? The son dies before I die. So we think that, these people will be able to protect us, but that is not the case. They cannot give us protection. And why they cannot give us protection? Because they are fallible soldiers. They are soldiers who will fall down. So we are putting our bet on the wrong horse, so to speak, right? So we have to remember this, that when it comes to protection, even life insurance and earthquake insurance companies who give you earthquake and tornado insurance, those kind of companies also will declare bankruptcy at the time when you need all the money, right? When a big tornado, sweeps your house and breaks it into pieces, your insurance company says we are broke. So what kind of protection are they giving us? None. So the real protection is the protection that comes from the Lord. And one of you or few of you had listed that also as the protection, one of the protections. So, but that is a transcendental protection coming. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you are surrounded by rich aristocratic relatives or you don't have a relative at all. It doesn't matter whether you have a son or you don't have a son. It doesn't matter. Krishna will take care of you. Rakhe Krishna, mare ke. Mare Krishna, rakhe ke. Right? So if Krishna is protecting you, then nobody can kill you. Classic example is from the life of Prahlad Maharaj. His father was Hiranyakashipu and he tried his best to kill his son. He threw him from the top of a mountain. He threw him in front of mad elephants. He threw him into a pit of snakes, deadly, venomous cobra snakes. Nothing happened to Prahlad Maharaj. Why? Because Krishna was protecting him. Right? Mare rakhe Krishna mare ke, mare Krishna rakhe ke. And if Krishna has decided I'm going to kill somebody, then you can't do anything at all. Anything. Look at the super powerful Rama. He was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and he got his powers from there. He pleased Lord Shiva, and he was there. But when Lord Ramchandra decided to kill him, then nothing could happen. Right? Shivji could not do that. And actually, when all this was happening, this war was going on down below, Parvati turns to Shivji and says that, he's your devotee. Why are you not taking care of him? You should go there and you protect him. And Shivji said, I can't. There is Lord Rama, who's made up his mind that he's going to annihilate him. I can't do that. So that is the real protection, the protection that comes from Krishna. And so in today's verse, Kunti Maharani is recounting the many, many times that Krishna had protected her. And as we were saying, that she has been talking about and glorifying Krishna. Earlier, she had given some of the qualities of Krishna, that Krishna is everywhere, he is omnipresent, and he is very intelligent. He is adhokshaja, it cannot be seen by our senses. He cannot also be described completely. He's the one who gives spiritual knowledge to everybody, like that. And then she started to describe his body and said, Namaha Pankaj Malaya, Nabhaya, Namaha Pankaj Maline, Namaha Pankaj Netraya, Namaha Pankaj Angrihe, right? So after describing the body, then from the previous verse, she had started to describe his activities, right? Of how he has been protecting them. And in this verse, she's continuing to do that. And so she's saying, my dear Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Aśvatthāmā. So this is chapter number 8. And in chapter number 7, we had talked about how Aśvatthāmā had killed all the sons of the Pandavas, and he had unleashed a Brahmastra, which Arjuna had to, counteract. And then soon after, he unleashes another Brahmastra, and this time it was directed to the womb of Uttara, who was carrying the last in the dynasty of the Pandavas, and that is Parikshit Maharaj. So Krishna had, saved her. So she's counting all that, and out of her gratefulness to Krishna, she's thanking him, right? And she says something very, very powerful. which we will cover in the next verse next week. But for today, we're going to focus on this verse, right? So one of the things that we have to remember, I mean, these are these stories which are there are not new to all of you. You all are from India. And so you get, or Nepal, or Fiji Islands, or America. But most of you have that cultural momentum that you get in India. From being born and as an Indian, there are certain stories and certain, samskaras that you gather and get from your parents or from the family or from the society that you live in, right? So, so it's not these stories are not anything new, right? All that we're going to do is to, connect them to the various shastras that we are reading. And so in 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, he's talking about that when we see people, devotees, sometimes we see devotees are not behaving properly as we would expect the devotees to behave. And that's our expectation. We have some expectations in our mind and they don't behave like that. So we start, this little conversation starts to go inside our head that, oh, look at this, such and such a person is, bad and they shouldn't have done this and they shouldn't have done that, right? But Krishna is so merciful that once, and here's the thing, once a person becomes a devotee of the Lord and takes full surrender, surrenders completely unto Lord Krishna, then Krishna will always protect him. To us, it might appear that he's not protecting what is happening, this and that, but Krishna can protect us in so many ways. Sometimes difficulties come in our lives and we could be a devotee and, be thrown out of a job, for example. And then somebody might say, oh, look at such and such a person. He was such a nice devotee of the Lord. And look at Krishna, what he did. He took away his means of livelihood. But it's not that. Even in that act, now because Krishna is absolute, even in such glaringly bad acts that we think are coming from Krishna, Krishna is still thinking about our good. Maybe we were in such a horrible job, right? That we would have not been able to pursue any Krishna consciousness. Maybe we would have suffered a heart attack because of the pressure and the stress which was there, and then just uselessly wasted this human form of life and not done any devotional service. I remember I used to go to a temple, it was a Fiji temple in San Mateo. And so people used to come there to the temple priest and say, oh, I lost my job. And the priest used to laugh and say, all right, till you find another job, come do the dishes in the temple. So it was his way of saying that, this is a very nice opportunity. You lost your job. He saw that as an opportunity that now that you don't have all the pullings of the job, that you will be able to dedicate more time to Krishna. So even when Krishna seems to be doing, seemingly odd things, he is still taking care of himself in ways that our intellect cannot understand. And that's why he says in Bhagavad Gita, Api chet suduracharo bhajte maam ananyabhat sadhur eva samantavya samyak vyavasito saha. He says that if somebody is supposed to be doing the most abominable act, but he's a devotee, then do not point fingers at that person. Why? Because he's engaged in devotional service. And because he's engaged in devotional service, what's going to happen? Shipram bhavati dharmatma tasvat shantin nikachati kanteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashati. He says, because he's engaged in the act of devotional service, then very soon, even if he's doing some bad activities, accidental fall down has happened, then very soon, Shipram, very soon he will become a dharmatma, right? Chipram bhavati dharmatma shasvat shantim nighachati. And then he's going to get shanti, he's going to get peace of mind. Sasvat shantim nighachati kanteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashati. So then he says, Kanteya, that is, oh son of Kunti, declare it boldly. What is he supposed to declare? Name bhaktya pranashati. My devotee never perishes. So on the surface, we might think that somebody died, so they perished. Somebody fell down from their devotional practice, so they perished. No, Krishna's protection is always there, right? So death and things like that are things that we think from our mundane and short vision. But Krishna has a bigger plan and a better plan, always a better plan than ours. So he will take care of us. And these incidences that are happening that Kunti Maharani is narrating, right? her son Bhima was poisoned by Duryodhana, right? Duryodhana did not want Bhima. So he gives him some food. Bhim liked food as a little boy. He loved food. I think it was rice pudding, sweet rice. And so he says, but then Duryodhana had actually added some poison. It was a deadly poison, very, very deadly poison. So he mixes that, gives it to Bhima to eat. And Bhima is strong. So, the poison doesn't take effect immediately, but he starts to feel a little bit sleepy. So, that effect is coming. So he says, I want to sleep. So he falls down on the ground. He goes to sleep. At that time, Duryodhana and Dushashan, they tie him up and throw him into the water. And obviously, by now he's unconscious. So unconscious, he goes to the bottom of the water, of the sea. And when he reaches the bottom of the water body, there he is bitten by snakes. Now, here's a fantastic thing that happens in Ayurveda and also in homeopathy. What they do is that they use one kind of a poison to counteract another poison. So while this Bhima is unconscious because of the first poison, all these snakes that are biting him, their poison goes and counteracts the first poison, which is there. And so now Bhima wakes up and he's underwater and he's seeing like, my goodness, what are all these snakes they're doing around me? And they're coming and they are, biting me, but he doesn't like it. Bhima, we know, he wouldn't like that. So then he looks around and he takes up the snake, which is the longest snake. And then he starts to hurl the snake like that, right? And because of the hurling of that snake goes and hits the other snakes which are there, and now all the snakes are bloody. So they get scared. So they run to the king of the snakes, right? And where does the king of the snake live? He doesn't live here in this planet. He lives in the Naga Loka. So I was talking to you about the 14 planetary systems. So he goes into another planetary system where the king of Naga is there. And when he goes there, then the king from the Naga Loka, the king of the Naga Loka, he actually goes and says that, okay, Bhima, I am actually related to, Madri. I think it was Madri, not Kunti. I'm related to Madri, your other mother. So we are actually your friends. So don't beat us and don't kill us. And please be our guest. So then, of course, Bhim likes it. And because he's the guest, so he says, the king now says, okay, have some food. When food means Bhima is very happy. So the first thing that he gives him, he says that this is some elixir. I'm going to give you Amrit, right? And what this elixir is going to do is, it's going to make you, it's like a, like a smoothie that you have in the morning to get some energy. So this will give you some good energy. So he has got a big patra from which, he normally gives a little bit, a few drops to this one, a few drops to that one, a few drops to this one. People take that nectar, they are invigorated and they go on with their work. Now when the king offers the nectar to Bhimsen, Bhima drinks all of it. All of that, he drinks it. And then after that, what happens? When you eat extra, what do you want to do? Eating, sleeping, right? So he goes up to sleep and sleeps so many, many hours. And so all this nice nectar, has its effect on his body. And when he gets up, he's really, really strong. So look at the miracle that Kṛṣṇa did. Here was Duryodhana plotting to kill Queen Kunti's son, right? And gave him the deadliest kind of poison. And so we might think of things from our perverted intellect, which is on a material plane. And we might think that, oh, this is good. Now this is poison. You give it to somebody in such a big quantity, he's bound to die. But then we don't know Kṛṣṇa enough we don't even know this world enough that, that there are snakes that can also counteract the effect of the poison there. So that is why Kṛṣṇa is saying that Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. And so here there is again, he's also saying that we were suffering in the exile in the forest, and this verse also says that you saved us from the battle where there were great generals. And we remember in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Duryodhana first comes and he starts to inspect the army, right? So he first describes the Pandavas' armies. And then he says, Asmakam tu vishishtaye tane bodha dijottama sanyaska mama sanya nayaka mama sanyasya. Right? So he says, okay, now I'm going to tell you the great generals of in my army. Bhamam bhishmasya karnasya kripasya samitinjaya Aśvatthāmā vikarmasya swamadhatti tatevacha anyecha bahava shura. So he's giving this whole list, and then he says anyecha, and there are more. Madartam takta jivita nana shastra praharana. They are very adept at all the weapons. Sarve yuddha visharada. They are PhDs in the science of of war and of battlefield. So they are all maharathas. So she's using the word maharathi. So maharathi. So when you have a fight, there are different ways in which you fight. And the fights in those days were held on a very nice platform and with a very nice understanding. There's a very nice ruling. And those fights were not rigged as the cricket matches are these days, right? So they were held on a very nice plane and a very suitable and with suitable understanding. And so there were people who were called padal. They are the cavalry. They walk on foot and they fight. And then there would be people ghursavar who would be on the horseback. Then there would be those who would be on the hathi, like elephant. And then there would be people who will be sitting on a chariot or rath. So the idea was that if you are walking, then you will only fight with somebody else who's walking. If you are on a horse, then you won't fight somebody who's down below. You will only fight, with anybody else who's on the horse, like that. So there was a proper rules and regulations. So if you were on a chariot, then you could be an ekrathi, which means that you are on one chariot and you'll fight another one who's on another chariot. Okay? Then there were maharathis. So here, Kunti Maharani is saying that in the battle, there were maharathis. A maharathi is that he sits on one chariot and he fights people who are on 1,000 chariots. So you can imagine how, experts they are in the art of fighting, right? That you are alone in a chariot, but you are able to move your chariot so swiftly and your horses are able to move so swiftly that you can fight with people who are surrounding you from all the directions. How many are surrounding you? 1,000. Then there is Atirathi. Atirathi is one who can fight even more than 1,000 at one given time. So the combats in those days were amazing. And he's saying that the war had Kauravas, they were full of Maharathis. And yet all the 5 Pandavas were saved. So she's being thankful to Kṛṣṇa, and she's saying that, that I am so thankful that you saved my children. And not only my children, my daughter-in-law. Daughter-in-law is who? Draupadi. Right? And Draupadi, even when she was a young princess, she had heard about Arjuna and she wanted to marry Arjuna. So when her father organized the Swayamvar for her, at that time he had invited all the kings and all the princes, but the Pandavas were actually in exile. And not only in exile, they were also in Agyatvaas, which means that they were supposed to live incognito. So obviously the invitations did not go out to the Pandavas like that, but nevertheless, the Pandavas go there dressed as Brahmanas. And in that sabha, we also have Kṛṣṇa. So we know Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa, a little bit of a history about Kṛṣṇa. And that Kṛṣṇa was the son of Kunti Maharani, who's praying right now. So he's the son of Kunti Maharani, but he was born out of wedlock. And so it was not an illicit affair that she had. She was actually a very righteous young woman who pleased Durvasa Muni by her service attitudes, that he gave her this benediction that you will be able to invoke and call any demigod that you like. So she was a very young girl. She accepted that gift. And Durvasa Muni, he's Trikaldarsi, which means they know the past, they know the present, and they know the future. So he said, in the future, you will need this and you'll be able to put this to use. She's a little girl. She doesn't know, young girl, doesn't know much. So one afternoon, she was sitting in her bedroom and she's thinking, oh, he gave me this mantra that I could chant and then I will invoke a demigod. So she said, she looks out of the window, she sees the sun. So she says, okay, let me call the sun god. And so she does the mantra, and lo and behold, the sun god in all his majesty descends and comes into her room. And so now she's very nice. She's, taking care, praying to him, offering him food and all that. That's her nature. She does that. And then it's time for him to leave. And when the sun god is about to leave, the sun god says, but you know what? This mantra with which you invoked me, that mantra is supposed to give some phal, right? Supposed to give you some results. And the result is not just that the demigod will appear. The demigod will also give you a son. Now Kunti is horrified because she's not married. And more importantly, she's horrified because she's not married to the sun god, right? So how can she have a child? So she tells us to the sun god that I can't do that. And we know, Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. So we have this tendency that one organ of the body can sometimes do the job of other organ of the body. So then Surdevta tells him that, oh, no, don't worry like that. You will still remain a virgin, right? So Kṛṣṇa is born from Kunti's ear, right? So she remains intact as a virgin. That's why he's called Kṛṣṇa, because Kṛṣṇa is ear in Sanskrit. But then she's still scared of the fact, because in those days, these kinds of pregnancies, or not pregnancies, but births were quite common. So she was scared of it. So what she does, she then puts him in a box and puts him in a water. And then Kṛṣṇa is brought up by a low class person. But he is, because he has got the blood of Surya, right? A demigod. He is born from the body of a demigod. So he's very powerful and he's very good. He's almost good as Arjuna, if not better in some places in the war, in the case of, wars and all that you have. So, when Draupadi, sees Kṛṣṇa arriving for her Swayamvar, she doesn't like it. She knows that if Kṛṣṇa goes ahead and takes part in that, that little exercise, a little test that was there, that you have to look inside a water, a pot of boiling oil. And while you're looking up, you're supposed to aim upwards and shoot into the eye of a fish. And that fish is moving like that. I mean, it's not a real fish, but it's a, apparatus like that. So she knew that, and she was waiting that, somehow Arjuna will come, and she can't recognize Arjuna, who's already there, right? So anyway, so as soon as Kṛṣṇa gets up to try, she says, oh, but there's a rule that you have to be at least a Kshatriya to, to marry me. So obviously then Kṛṣṇa, steps back, but he's very much insulted by that. And he keeps that insult with him, and the rest of the story. So here Kunti Maharani is talking about how when Kṛṣṇa and Dushashan tried to disrobe her in the assembly, and she calls it Asat Sabhaya. In this verse, she says Asat Sabhaya. Asat means uncultured people. Why was it uncultured? Because a woman was standing there, and other men are pulling her clothes, and they are trying to make her go naked in an assembly where elders are there, hundreds of people are there in the court, and they are trying to do that to somebody who's not even any other low-class woman. She's their sister-in-law. They're trying to do that. So she says, Asat Sabhaya. And so Draupadi, first we know, tries to protect herself. And like I said, this topic is about protection. So we try to first, reach out to known people. So she reached out to her husbands. Save me, no answer. Dronacharya, Kripacharya, no answer. Bhishma Pitamaha, no answer. Then, okay, let me save myself. Let me hold on to my sari. Let me hold on to my sari. What can she fight? What can she do? How can she fight two men of the caliber of Dushashan and Kṛṣṇa? How can she fight, right? She's a fair lady. And then she throws up her hand up there and prays to Kṛṣṇa. Hey, Kṛṣṇa, hey, please save me. And then what does Kṛṣṇa do? Kṛṣṇa keeps on increasing the length of the sari, and they keep on pulling the sari. There's a big heap of sari cloth on the side, till in the end, the Dushashan and Kṛṣṇa get tired. So here she's counting that all these kinds of things that happened, poison cake, I have not covered fire. There were cannibals that came to eat them. There's Asat Sabhaya, she's talking about fight. And then in the end, Aśvatthāmā, who comes with a nuclear weapon. I mean, a small nuclear bomb, not of the caliber of a Brahmastra, much, much less potent than a Brahmastra, was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki 50 years ago. And still we have the effect of that. What to talk of unleashing Brahmastra, and on whom? On a tiny embryo inside the womb of Uttara. So such a big weapon unleashed on that, but Krishna still saved Parikshit Maharaj. So when we look at our lives, all these kinds of things have happened in our lives. It's not that somebody will practically pull our clothes, right? But people might insult us in other ways, right? It's not that people will give us poisoned cakes to eat and try to kill us, but people can poison our minds like that. So in this way, all these problems that Kunti Maharani is experiencing or experienced in her life, right? We also experience. And it is our attitude towards these experiences that is the difference, So miseries will come to everybody. We have to remember that. Miseries will come to all of us. The difference is that do you choose to suffer or not? Miseries will come to everybody. Do you choose to suffer or not? That is your choice there. So I'll stop over here. We are past the hour of the day. Take maybe a couple of reflections. And before we go into the reflections, I wanted to tell that tomorrow we are meeting at 5:30, same Zoom call, and we will be reading again from the Bhagavad Gita, and also there will be some Kirtan at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So please do come, and we are having these sessions to pray for those who lost their lives due to COVID, also those who are fighting COVID, and also anybody that you want to pray for. They don't have to be affected necessarily by COVID. There are other problems also in life that we all face. Padam padam yat vipadam natesha, right? Every step there are plus, so please do come and join us there. All right, so Vaishana Mataji, I know for the longest time you have your hand raised, so we'll let you go first.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very nice lecture, wonderful Mataji. Mataji, when you said 7 days for Parikshit Maharaj, you see, he knew. But I took it in the sense that these 7 days are there, and any day we can go. So we also have an indication from the Shastras that be alert. These 7 days, any day can come to you. So death is standing at that doorstep. And be alert, and don't waste your time.
Yes, very good observation. And I'd just like to add a question to all of you to that. How did you feel as when you were kids and at school, right? How did you feel when the teacher walked into the class and said, I'm going to take a surprise test? How did you all feel?
Scared.
Horrified.
Scared. Very scared.
Scared to death, right? And then after the scare kind of settles down in your body, then what do you think? Oh my goodness, I should have prepared for it. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, I should have studied enough, right? So this is exactly, death is the final exam. How prepared are we for that? It's the final exam. So we should be prepared throughout our life. Now having defined what is old age, now you know what is old age. We are all old because we don't know. We don't know whether we are old or young. Like that. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And then in the order of appearance of the hand, I'm just trying to see, I lost, yeah. So Vindhyavali Mataji, please go ahead. And after that, Arvind Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, thank you very much for all this Kunti Maharani's, what she went through and how it will affect in our life. That's very good. Today, it is very amazing class we had today. And not only today, every day, every time we have very good classes, but today messing, all this information. And like Bashana Mataji said, death is always like a shadow. It follows us all the time. And like you said, it is every day we have to pray, and then we don't know what is next moment. And not only next day or any day, but next second, we don't know what happens to. So always my mom used to say, no, death follows like a shadow to you. Anytime it will catch you. That's it. So that's why whatever good things we have to do, we have to do. Not tomorrow, not yesterday or like that, present. We have to finish it. What we want, we have to do, we have to do it.
That is
Devotional, devotees association, reading these scriptures and everything. Just do it today. That's it.
Yes.
Not waiting for tomorrow.
Yes. Best day is today, because tomorrow we have not seen.
That is,
and who knows whether we will see it. Yeah.
That's why this is a present for us.
It's a gift. Exactly. Yes. Present is a present.
Every day is a gift, Mataji. Like this COVID, we saw every day is a gift for us. Yes. So we have to utilize it nicely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. Aruni Mataji. If you are speaking, you're speaking on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I just wanted to, ask, and maybe you've gone through it, but I'm not sure. Kṛṣṇa must have had some really bad karma to be born like that. I mean, even though he's born from the sun god and so on, I mean, he had to lead a life of, being illegitimate, have to bear that stigma. And yes. So what was his background? I mean, what was the karma that he had to undergo that?
I will have to dig up and find out the exact names, etc. But I do know that he was not a good man in his previous birth. He was not good. He was a Rakshasa or something of that caliber. And I might, call my help friend line. I might use my call my friend helpline, because Khyati Mataji is here, whose grandmother has told her all the stories. So she might remember. Khyati, do you remember Kṛṣṇa's previous life? Who he was? He was some kind of a demon. If you Google, you'll find out about Kṛṣṇa.
So from a demon to be so close to actually come and fight in the war with Kṛṣṇa and all that, that's a pretty elevated position in itself, though.
Yes, because you never know from where he fell and became a demon. See, that's the thing. That's why people are behaving like demons. Then also,
Mata, she doesn't remember. She has to think up. She knows about the Bhishma Pita, but not about
this one. Yeah. But you can Google it. You can find that out. Yeah, I think his name began with a K or something like that. Yeah, that some 1,000 heads and things like that. Yeah, if you cut them off, they would not go, and he was a terror. So you never know when you also look at all these demons, and there are so many shastric stories and evidences around them. I mean, look at Ravana, Rama, and then Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Shishupal, Dantavakra, right? Kumbhakarna. So these are horrible people, right? But who are they actually? In one birth, who are they? They are Jay and Vijay from the Vaikuntha planets. So you never know what is going on, what's happening. And that is why when one of the signs of advancement in devotional service is that you have to be nindadi shunya. We never criticize anybody, because we never know what's going on, what's happening in the background, what has happened, what has not happened. We don't know. On the surface, we might see something, it might appear as something, but it could be something very different inside.
Apparently, Kṛṣṇa was a demon named Dhambodbhava.
There you go.
Extremely evil and powerful.
There you go. Right, yeah. There you go. Yeah. But he had a good heart as well. He had a very good heart also. But it's a combination. Yeah.
Charity, he does a lot of charities.
He gives his kavach. He was born with a kavach.
Kavach.
He gives away that shield when Kunti Maharani goes and says, and then when he finally finds that Kunti is his mother, he doesn't start a tirade of words. He actually bows respectfully to her. And when she asks for the, kavach and says to protect Arjuna, he agrees. And ultimately, yeah, for all the others, yeah, but Arjuna, finally he dies in the hands of Arjuna. So there are so many aspects of it. So one of the things that we have to learn as devotees is that when we see this kind of a behavior, all that we have to do is to, number one thing, we should not emulate that. And number two, have compassion for that soul, to say that, okay, this soul is going through this. I don't know what this soul must have done in the previous lives. Oh my Lord, please have some mercy. And somehow or the other, bring them back onto the freeway of, Krishna consciousness. They are starting to take the back roads there. So bring them back.
What is the demon's name? What is Karna?
Dambodhava.
Dambodhava.
Dambh, pride.
D-U-M-B.
D-A-M-B-H-O-D-H-B-A-V-A.
D-A-M-B-H-O-B.
B-H-A-V-A.
You type it on the WhatsApp group.
Dambodhava. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you can type it on the WhatsApp group also for others.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we will conclude today's session. Remember, please do join us at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. for you, Vindhyavali Mataji.
My time.
8:30 your time.
Thank you very much.
Pancha
Yes.
Kalpatarusya Sindhu Devucha Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bo.
And the pranams here, devotees. Please have a fantastic day. Please stay
Thank you so
safe.
much.
Thank you. Hare